Since Gary Kubiak stepped down in 2016, the Denver Broncos have went through and whiffed on several head coaches. Their last 3 head coaching hires have not been good. You look at Vance Joseph, who currently is their defensive coordinator. He didn't work out. They hired Vic Fangio for a couple of years, 2019 to 2021. He didn't work out. You brought in Nathaniel Hackett, who probably was the worst of the previous head coaches that you hired prior to Sean Payton, and we know how big of a disaster Nathaniel Hackett was. And now you have Sean Payton in there. And when the Denver Broncos traded for Sean Payton, and they officially named him their head coach, majority of people felt like he would be able to turn this team around. Now, nobody was expecting a miracle to happen. Nobody expected for Denver to go from what they were last season to a Super Bowl contender, but you at least thought that this team would be better than what they are right now, currently 1-4 and looking like one of the worst teams in the NFL. Russell Wilson, he hasn't looked bad. He's looked way better than what he did last season. He has 11 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions. He's completing 66.9% of his passes. He's thrown for 1,210 passing yards. But for some reason, anytime the game is on the line and you really need Russell Wilson to pull through, he just finds a way to blow the game. And it's to the point that I can't even call Russell Wilson Russ anymore. He doesn't deserve the nickname Russ. Russ is too cool of a nickname for a guy like him to have anymore. Instead of calling him Russ, I just gotta call him Russell from this point forward because that's what he is. Russell Wilson is just a shadow of himself. And people say he's not playing bad. Yeah, he's not playing bad, but he's not the Russell Wilson that he used to be when he was with the Seattle Seahawks. The old Russell Wilson that I grew up on, that was one of the best quarterbacks of my lifetime, that I've been around to watch, was able to come through every single time the game was on the line. He was one of the clutchest quarterbacks in the league at one point. And now it seems like anytime the game is on the line, you just know he's going to fold. The only time Russell Wilson actually looked dependable in a late game situation was when they came from behind against the Chicago Bears. I mean, Russell Wilson, I don't give a damn what the stats show. We all saw his late game fumble against the New York Jets. And you can say, well, JT, they didn't really have a great chance at winning that game anyway. Like, the Jets defense is so great. Man, save me that. At the end of the day, you're paying Russell Wilson a lot of money. I need him to come through for me in late game situations, not fumbling the game away. There's a reason why Sean Payton went into Russell Wilson on the sideline after that play happened. He said, bro, what the hell are you doing? And I was looking at Russell Wilson saying the same thing. You know, like, Russell Wilson is a great person. He's a really good guy to have in the locker room. He's a hard worker. He's going to give it his all. But that doesn't win you games. Being a likable guy, being a great person, being a man of faith doesn't win you games as a quarterback. Russell Wilson isn't winning games. And you see, the Broncos are not a great team. We understand that. And when you have a quarterback like Russell Wilson, he isn't able to elevate a bad team anymore. At one point, Russell Wilson used to carry Seattle with terrible offensive lines, non-existent run games. It was the Russell Wilson show up there in Seattle for one point. But you look at what he is currently with the Denver Broncos, with Sean Payton at the helm, it's like, damn. Sean Payton, one of the greatest minds on the offensive side of the football in the game of football, the history of the football, can't even get Russell Wilson to play anywhere close to the level that he used to play at in his prime years with the Seattle Seahawks. That should tell you everything you need to know. Sean Payton is not the problem with the Denver Broncos. Sean Payton was given a lot of money for a reason. You want to know why the Broncos ownership paid him so much money? Because they realized how crappy of a situation they were in with Russell Wilson. So I don't get why you Broncos fans, not all of you guys, but some of y'all are trying to say that Sean Payton needs to be fired. What? Sean Payton wasn't in charge of building this roster. He didn't get the trade for Russell Wilson. He didn't get to sign most of the guys that he wanted to last season, he was retired. He was working for Fox, comfortable at home, living, chilling. And then you have to bring this fool out of retirement, offer him a lot of money, and now you want to try to blame him for him inheriting a terrible situation? Like, come on, man. There's a reason why a lot of head coaches didn't want to take this job. There's a reason why you have to pay Sean Payton so much money for him to become the head coach of Denver. You had to incentivize him to take this job. Anytime you have to incentivize somebody to do something, that means that most people that you ask to do it without the added incentives don't want to take it. And you want to know why people didn't want to take it? Because they knew that Russell Wilson was broken car pieces. You can't fix a car that doesn't start up anymore. Russell Wilson, you start that bad boy up, he may get you out of your driveway, and then he turns off once you get into the open road. I don't care about what these stats show about Russell Wilson. Yeah, he hasn't played bad, but he hasn't played good enough for the Denver Broncos to be better than what they are. They're a 1-4 football team. Russell Wilson, you can say he ain't the problem, but he definitely ain't the solution, and he definitely ain't the future. And my homeboy was saying that, man, Denver got to move on from Russell Wilson ASAP, and I was trying to break it down to him. No, bro, like, they're stuck with Russell Wilson for the next 3 to 4 years. His cap hit, his dead money is way too big for you to cut him. And nobody's going to want to trade for him. Who would want to trade for Russell Wilson? I mean, the Denver Broncos are in a really bad situation. And I don't think you can put this on Sean Payton. You got to put this on the general manager. The general manager after this season, he definitely has to get sent the door. He has to. He whiffed on hiring Nathaniel Hackett. He did a terrible job at constructing this roster. Now, Sean Payton probably had a big say in some of the big moves that they made in free agency. Okay, but that's just one offseason, and the Denver Broncos didn't really have a lot of money to work with where they could just drastically overhaul this roster via one offseason. Sean Payton is going to need more than 1 year to fix this franchise. There's a reason why he's getting paid all this damn money. Now, Sean Payton, where he does need to be held accountable for is this coaching staff that he assembled. When he hired Vance Joseph, I was against the hiring, but I only gave it faith because of Sean Payton. That's it. The only reason I gave Sean Payton the benefit of a doubt when it came to hiring Vance Joseph and not really questioning it is because he's one of the greatest coaches ever. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's going to be a future first ballot Hall of Famer as a head coach. Okay, so of course, I'm going to respect his judgment and I'm going to give him the benefit of a doubt because he's a Hall of Fame coach for a reason. I'm sitting here talking to you guys on microphone getting paid for a reason. Okay, so of course, I'm going to give Sean Payton a little bit of leeway when it comes to certain decisions that he makes, even if they are a little bit skeptical. But Vance Joseph, he wasn't good when he was the defensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals. I remember that Monday night. Was it Monday night? I don't know if it was Monday or Thursday night. But all I know is there was a game when last year the Arizona Cardinals got steamrolled by the 49ers. And George Kittle had a big touchdown run where nobody on Arizona looked like they wanted to tackle the fool. I don't get what Sean Payton was doing when he chose to hire Vance Joseph, but that was an awful decision. I honestly thought he should have went with Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan, he may not be a great head coach, but this dude is a fantastic defensive coordinator. If Rex Ryan was calling the plays, you think the Dolphins would have put 70 on that defense? With Rex Ryan being the DC, I'm pretty confident that wouldn't have happened. I mean, and Rex Ryan has too much pride even to allow a defense to be that bad. So when it comes to Sean Payton, I don't think he needs to be fired. Obviously, he needs way more time. This is a shit show, man. I mean, look at how bad this team was last year. And the fact that Russell Wilson is playing better, but this team is just as bad, if not worse, than what they were in 2022 under Nathaniel Hackett tells you that this team has way more problems than just quarterback. The offensive line isn't good. Your running back position is completely depleted due to injuries, and your defensive line, you don't even have a consistent pass rush. I mean, you got rid of Bradley Chubb. He's with the Dolphins. He still isn't really doing that much down there, but I mean, you don't have anybody on that defensive line outside of maybe Zach Allen, who may be your best pass rusher, and I don't even know if he's healthy. Hell, I might have to look it up real quick. But all I'm saying is that the Denver Broncos, this team had no talent coming into the season on defense, basically. You had Patrick Surtain, Justin Simmons, and that was about it. Offensively, this team should be a lot better than what they have been. You got Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. I expect a little bit more out of this offense, but I mean, I'm not going to put this all on Sean Payton. Sean Payton didn't build this team, and Sean Payton had it his way, and he could get rid of Russell Wilson with no penalties. He would have Russell Wilson out of Denver in a snap of a finger. I'm pretty sure Sean Payton at this point has no problem throwing in the towel and tanking for Caleb Williams. Because at this point, you're paying this dude all this money to try to win in the unwinnable situation. How many head coaches could Denver possibly hire that could have this team in a better position than what they are right now? You could put the best head coach. You could put Vince Lombardi on the damn sideline in place of Sean Payton, and this team still would be a disaster. I mean, this roster was just terribly constructed. And not just that, but this is an organization that from a front office standpoint, they've been making bad decisions ever since they won that Super Bowl. Ever since Gary Kubiak stepped down, it's been wraps. And there's a reason why Gary Kubiak stepped down. I think that he kind of peeped the dysfunction in the front office. He peeped the dysfunction on the top level. And that's why the Broncos are in the situation that they're in now. This roster has been poorly constructed. You gave Russell Wilson all this money, plus you gave up all your future assets to get him. Yeah, you got a first-round pick. It potentially could be the number 1 overall pick if the Bears and the Panthers improve a little bit. But I mean, Sean Payton, you can't put all of the blame on him. All right? You probably got to give Sean Payton 30% of the blame and put 70% of it on the rest of this franchise. You know, the front office, the owners, the general manager. Because Sean Payton got paid a lot of money to turn this thing around for a reason. And I think with you giving him so much money, that tells you that, hey, we know that this is an awful situation. Just do the best that you can this season, and we'll try to figure the rest out later. If I'm Sean Payton, I don't give a damn how much money Russell Wilson is getting paid. I'm tanking for Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, if he's available and the Denver Broncos have a chance to draft him, you draft him. And you work out the rest later. If Russell Wilson wants to be the highest paid backup in NFL history, go ahead and do so. Even though I don't think Russell Wilson's ego will allow that to happen. I don't think Russell Wilson would be okay getting paid all this money to be a backup quarterback for a rookie QB. If Denver can't force Russell Wilson to retire and you got to go ahead and draft another quarterback and he becomes the highest paid backup QB in NFL history, so be it. F it. Because at this point, him being out there doesn't really improve your chances at winning. I'd rather have Caleb Williams starting for me at quarterback on a rookie deal and have Dak Prescott. You know, hell, I'll take Dak Prescott over Russell Wilson right now. Dak Prescott will be a better QB under Sean Payton's tutelage than what he is under Mike McCarthy's tutelage. I mean, the Denver Broncos are just a complete, unmitigated disaster. And for you Broncos fans that want Sean Payton fired, what the hell were you expecting this season? I get it. I had them winning 9-10 games. But nobody viewed this team as more than a potential wild card team. Broncos fans making it seem like they were supposed to be anything better than what they are right now. I mean, I don't think any of us thought they would be 1-4, but not too many people expected miracles to be made when Sean Payton was hired by Denver. He did what most people believe that he would be able to do. He's fixed Russell Wilson. He's got Russell Wilson playing at a higher level than what he was last year under Nathaniel Hackett, but it's just that in the year 2023, we have to accept the reality that This is who Russell Wilson is. He's not Russ anymore. He's Russell. He's not the old incredible Houdini Russell Wilson that was getting out of sacks, breaking out of all kinds of tackles, and just making crazy throws downfield. The new Russell Wilson is the Russell Wilson that you see today. You can't trust him to win games when it's on the line, and he's not a quarterback that's going to be able to elevate a bad team. If anything, Russell Wilson needs a great roster to win at this stage of his career, and how most quarterbacks need. You know, most quarterbacks around Russell Wilson's age can't carry a football team anymore. They need to have a good supporting cast around them. There's a reason why Tom Brady left New England and went to Tampa Bay. There's a reason why Aaron Rodgers left Green Bay for New York. You need weapons when you're an older quarterback. You need a great offensive line when you're an older quarterback. And when you don't get that, you're not going to have a lot of success. I don't get how Broncos fans, not all of you guys, but a lot of you guys are trying to put all the blame on Sean Payton, trying to say we need to fire Sean Payton. Sean Payton was a bad hire. No, Sean Payton has held up somewhat his end of the bargain. Russell Wilson's playing at a better level. He just isn't playing at a good enough level for the Broncos to be able to win games because this is a bad team. This team has been poorly constructed for over the last couple of years. One free agency period and one offseason wasn't going to be enough to overcome the years of poor drafting and poor roster acquisition that the Broncos have had over the last couple of years since they won that Super Bowl back in 2015 in Peyton Manning's final season. Sean Payton, give him some time, all right? I'm judging Sean Payton based on what he does in 2024, not what he does in 2023, although I am going to give him a little bit of some accountability when it comes to him hiring Vance Joseph as the defensive coordinator. I never understood that in the first place. I thought Rex Ryan would have been a much better fit, but there's a reason why he's getting paid all this money. So I trusted his decision, and obviously this decision has backfired in his face. And this is the first time that Sean Payton ever really had to assemble a coaching staff. I mean, he's had the same coaching staff in New Orleans for damn near a decade and a half. Hell, most of the coaches that were under Sean Payton during his years in NOLA are still on the staff with Dennis Allen right now. Sean Payton, if you're a Broncos fan, you got to give him time because he inherited a disaster. You got to remember, they paid this dude a boatload of money to take this job. They pretty much gave him so much money that he couldn't turn this job down. So it's like, yeah, you look at it as, man, he's getting paid so much money, JT. Of course, we're going to expect better, but you also got to look at it like this. You're paying this guy so much money because this was such a undesirable job that nobody else wanted to take it. So you can't be surprised that you're in the situation that you are right now. Sean Payton is still a great coach. You know, him missing on the defensive coordinator doesn't change anything about his legacy and his resume. He's still going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame coach regardless of if this thing ends up getting turned around or not. But this was just a recipe for a disaster when you look at the situation that he was walking into.